Sorry everybody, Xilicks here, and welcome to week 8 of the MLBA. Today we are going off against our first division rematch versus the Reno Acerola and Spanic at the Disco. This game is going to be tough because I lost pretty big last time, mainly because of not expecting counter Miltank. Well, I was expecting Choppel Miltank, but not Choppel counter Miltank, so that was able to take down my Lopunny before I wanted it to go down, and then obviously the rest of that game kind of snowballed down from there. This time though, I decided to be a little bit more offensive as the Zygarde switch-ins weren't really existent, and I didn't bring Zygarde last time, so I feel like that was a mistake in prep. Also, I just was generally more offensive this time. I have two Choice Scarfers, Choice Scarf on the Crocodile and the Gardevoir. I have a very offensive set on the Zapdos, a bit of defense on the Zapdos to take maybe a hit or two from like general things, and then the Empoleon is kind of my only Bulkymon this week. Now, as far as my sets, I'm running a substitute Dragon Dance set on Zygarde. The reason for that is to be able to take Shadow Sneaks and Water Shurikens, Bullet Punches, whatever it may be. There's a lot of priority on this team, and I'm thinking if I can potentially set up a substitute on something switching out and then get up a Dragon Dance on the following turn and then do a lot of damage, and you know, whatever it may be. The Dragonium Z is the hold item because at like +1 or 2, I think I killed the Miltank with a little bit of prior damage. My Lopunny, also very interesting set. I'm running substitute Drain Punch, Power Up Punch, and then also the Cosmic Power. So if I'm able to get up 2 Cosmic Power boosts, I don't think anything can break my sub outside of a Play Rough from Mimikyu and a Zen Headbutt from the Metagross. Or actually, it may be +3 for most of the stuff on the Metagross, excluding the Zen Headbutt. But yeah, this Lopunny set can be really devastating because the defense and special defense boosts will allow me to take the priority hits better to prevent the breaking of my substitute. The Drain Punch will obviously give me recovery, and the Power Up Punch will let me do more damage, which in turn is more recovery with Drain Punch. And there's no Drain Punch resistances on that side of the field, so that's looking pretty good. Next up, I have Crocodile, knockoff mainly for things like getting rid of like Greninja's item with the Choice Scarf. I can obviously knock off the Assault Vest on the Goodra if that's the item it is running. Gardevoir also Choice Scarfed to maybe catch Greninja off guard, to maybe hit Metagross with a Shadow Ball. If they choose not to use a Bullet Punch, instead they go for like a Meteor Mash or whatever. So that is hopefully going to work out, Double Scarf. Then I have the Zapdos with Toxic, the Empoleon also with Toxic, and then generally offensive coverage moves on the rest of them. So yeah, let's get into the battle. I decided to lead off with the Lopunny just because I was like, well, I was thinking leading off with Gardevoir, but I did not want the Metagross to lead and take advantage of that. I did not want the Wooper to lead and take advantage of that, and I did not want the Mimikyu to lead and take advantage of that. So I decided, you know, my Lopunny's probably the best thing because the things that I'm worried about setting up on cannot set up in front of Lopunny. So here, I bring out my Empoleon as the Metagross goes for Meteor Mash, does 15% and gets the attack raise. And this is unfortunate because I can live a 252 Adamant Earthquake from this range, but not if there's the +1 attack. So this Empoleon, what would have happened here, if that attack raise did not come through, I would have survived the Earthquake, I would have been in Torrent, I could have gone for a Scald, which does anywhere from 40 to 50% with my investment, and then the Aqua Jet on the following turn would have done anywhere from 15 to 20%, I believe. So this would have been a Metagross down to about 20% at the cost of my Empoleon, but instead, the Metagross is going to be at full health. The Crocodile is going to go for the Earthquake and not get the KO. Now also, the reason I didn't Aqua Jet with Empoleon there, on the off chance that the Metagross was running the Hammer Arm instead of the Earthquake, as Hammer Arm allows it to hit like the Lopunny as well, then I would have taken the Hammer Arm because I have the Chople Berry. Shuka Berry obviously would have been the better bring, but the main reason I had Chople over Shuka is because low kick on Greninja. If I can take that better, then it's whatever. But anyways, it doesn't end up mattering because now, because of that attack raise, I lose both my Crocodile and my Empoleon, where instead I could have only lost my Empoleon, or I could have played around the thing better if it didn't have the attack raise. So that kind of sucks. I bring in my Lopunny. I believe I try to set up a substitute here. Just attacks what's out in front. So here I'm just going to knock it out with the Drain Punch because I don't really have another option. The Mimikyu comes in. This is obviously unfortunate. I go Zapdos. Zapdos can actually take these hits pretty well. So Reveals is not an offensive item. I thought maybe it's a Z Crystal or something. I'm just going to Volt Switch out back into the Lopunny because Lopunny can actually set up on this. I get up a Cosmic Power and he Sludge Waves. Now I'm kind of fearing getting poisoned, but that Sludge Wave was doing just the percent that I didn't want it to be, and it's actually a good thing that I did go for the Cosmic Power here because we see the Draco Meteor. But unfortunately, I'm just out of substitute range. Now, let's go through something that potentially could have happened. So let's say I knock out the Metagross right away instead of trying to set up the substitute. Then I would have been at full health. The Sludge Wave would have done 25%, the Draco would have done 38%, and then I'd be able to set up a substitute right here. So right here, I could have set up a substitute, the Mimikyu would have come in on the substitute. Instead, I attack breaking the Disguise, which is fine. But now I would be behind a substitute. The Disguise would not be broken, but the Mimikyu would be forced to go for Play Rough, and I'd be able to outspeed that. However, the Mimikyu is Choice Scarfed. Now, this basically seals the deal. I have nothing that can beat this Mimikyu at this point. Choice Scarf Mimikyu, I don't know. Like, I don't know how I'm supposed to expect that. Like, it's just, it's so, like, honestly, that's such a good bring, but at the same time, there's absolutely nothing I can do about it. I'm just going to try to maybe stall this Goodra for some differential. But it's really annoying that so many of my games this season have been lost because my opponent has one thing on their team that just wins. Like, I don't understand how this keeps happening. Like, there was the Torkoal previously that just destroyed me. The lead Mega Gallade, like, it's just a bunch of random stuff, and it's so annoying because a lot of the times it's like it's not something that is just upfront easy to predict. Here I considered going Zygarde because had I gone Zygarde, I could have, and like Roselia Berry, I wonder what that was about. Had I gone Zygarde though, even if he double Toxic, I could have gotten a substitute up, and I assume the thing had Ice Punch, the Wooper, but if not, I could have set up and maybe brought the differential a bit closer though. The Mimikyu being Scarf just kind of ruins my day. Yeah, I don't know. Like, I probably could have played around this thing better. Like, instead of Toxicking, I probably could have attacked there, but it doesn't matter because, you know, I just get outsped anyways, and I can't attack it with priority because it's a Ghost type. So that's unfortunately going to be the game. 4-0, and not what I wanted to happen. Had the Mimikyu not been Scarfed, like had it been like Life Orb or a Z Crystal or whatever, I might have won with the Lopunny right there, because what would have happened was I would have gotten the Drain Punch damage off, which would have allowed me to live the Play Rough barely, by the way. Barely allowed me to live the Play Rough. And then, depending on the Mimikyu set, I could have swapped Lopunny. Or, depending on how much my Drain Punch is doing, like how much recovery I'm getting, I might be able to stall out the Mimikyu to the point where I can either get up a substitute and start setting up more Cosmic Powers, or I can start setting up Power Punches. Either way, eventually, had it been Mimikyu versus Lopunny, the Play Rough would have missed or something. And if that happened, then I would have been able to pretty much just win. But obviously, Mimikyu was Choice Scarfed. It didn't miss any Play Roughs and destroyed me. The Metagross getting the attack raise was huge. I don't care what anyone says, like that. Like, losing my Crocodile was really bad, and even though this thing is Scarfed, he said that he wasn't running enough speed for Crocodile. I don't know how that compares to the amount of speed I was running, but either way, I still think he would have won had my employee on not been hacks, but having Crocodile around would have helped a lot because I obviously would have been playing differently. But I'm not going to sit here in Theorymon. It is what it is. He got the win. He had the good prep of the Scarf Mimikyu. It really sucks to lose a game with this much differential, though, whenever playoffs is on the line. I'm pretty sure I am out of playoffs, like 100% now, unless the Reno Acerola lose to the Columbus Chew, and then I would have to beat both the Columbus Chew and also the Philadelphia Absol, which isn't happening. So that's going to be probably it for me this season. I'm obviously going to continue uploading the rest of my season, and who knows, maybe I will get extremely lucky and get into playoffs. But yeah, I don't know. That being said, I'll catch you guys next time. Okay, thanks, bye.